Almost all good writing begins with terrible first efforts. You need to start somewhere. Start by getting something, anything, down on paper. That's what Anne Lamott said in her book titled Bird by Bird, in a chapter that's titled Shitty First Drafts. Now, if you've ever done anything with me in the past, especially like a Stoked workshop, you've almost inevitably heard me talk about the shitty first draft. I want to tell you about how I was introduced to the idea of a shitty first draft and the way it kind of saved me in a big way. So maybe 8 or 10 years ago, I am in the D school and we had just finished up work for the day, and I'm hanging out with my buddies Scott and Adam, and we're talking about like what we want to do later on in life and what sounds like a lot of fun. And I, of course, want to be a writer. I want to be a fiction writer. And so I tell them that, and my buddy Scott says, "Oh, that's great, man. Like, when do you think you're going to get like working on this, or how much progress have you already made?" And I said, "Well, none yet. I'm trying to figure it out in my head, and then as soon as I get it figured out, I'll put it on paper." And he started laughing, and I thought, "What's so funny here?" And he said, "No, man, you need to go home right now and get started. And what you're going to do is you're going to start writing, and it's going to be terrible. You're going to write a bunch of trash, and but that's how you do it." And I felt really like uninspired by that initial message by Scott. But as I got home that night and I started to sit down and I pulled out my laptop and I started to write, something really beautiful happened. I found that I had this like sense of permission that I had never given myself before to start writing. I was always waiting for the idea to be like fully formed in my mind, and that was never going to happen until I had this point to where I wrote my first draft. So I did. I started writing, and it was terrible. It was hot garbage. And but that's exactly what I needed to do in order to get the second draft done and the third draft, and on and on and on. And so I just want to say to any of you that are out there that are hesitating or you're reluctant to start your thing, no matter what it is, if it's a creative project or a new business or a product or a service, there's almost inevitably a shitty first draft that has to happen first. And I would encourage you to go ahead and get started on that now so that you can get working on the second draft.